You know something we haven't really talked about much? Censorship. Hey everyone, my name's Christian Verstappen and I have a lot to say about many things. I came across this post on Reddit, one of my, to be real, main sources for a lot of this content, on unpopular opinion, or I'm sorry, r/true unpopular opinion. Now, what unpopular opinion is, unpopular opinion and true unpopular opinion, it is, well, actually, you know what? This post kind of goes into it here. The reason why the opinions on this sub all seem the same is because of the moderation. There is an extremely narrow band of permissible unpopularity. And it's funny because it got tagged with unpopular here, which actually that sounds like that's good. But anyway, there's a lot of posts on this sub criticizing the opinions that get posted. Many of the complaints express the opinion of this sub only as banal, right-center opinions. It's not our fault. We could post better opinions, but the Reddit mods and admins won't let us. If you post anything truly unpopular on Reddit, you'll get banned. This sub and all of Reddit is a product of extremely intolerant and aggressive over-moderation. Okay, so a few things here. We'll get to my comment in a minute. A few things. Is it true that mods are kind of power crazy on Reddit? Yes, 100%. I've talked about this before. At the same time, though, and we'll get into this in a minute here, people only ever talk about censorship when it is censoring their ideas. But also, do you really want a place to open a discussion which can include pushback on your ideas? Or do you just want a circle jerk? Because if that's all you want, don't go to unpopular opinion. Because clearly it's not actually an unpopular opinion at that point. So I said, honestly, I feel for the mods and everyone else in this case. On one hand, you want a place for people to post unpopular opinions and discuss them. On the other, you don't want to platform outright harmful ideas or legitimize stances that can be used to attack others, like people challenging trans people and their rights, for example. I think the best sub for addressing unpopular opinions would be r/change my view. If that isn't a good option for you, I'd argue you're not actually trying to open a discussion, but rather want to circle jerk on your ideas, which is the same thing that you're accusing the mods of. So, person responded. On the other hand, you don't want to platform outright harmful ideas or legitimize stances that can be used to attack others. Step 1, categorize ideas you don't like as harmful/illegitimate/evil. Step 2, justify biased censorship of such ideas. The 2 steps all authoritarians take to control public thought. I love how these people that are actually authorization. I'm never going to let that go. No, these people that are actually authoritarians like this are always projecting this kind of stuff, because the reality is nobody actually agrees with absolute free speech. Nobody does. Nobody. There are certain things, there are negative freedoms that we have where there are certain things you can't do that limit your freedom in a way and also encourage everybody, including yourself, to actually be more free. With speech, let's look at the very simple example of you can't yell fire in a crowded room, or you can't walk into a bank, for example, or anywhere else, say, I got a gun, I'm going to rob the place, and just be like, oh, it's just a joke. No, you say that regardless of whether you have a gun or not, you can be arrested because that can be taken as a threat. And the reasons for having the stuff, so like, it's funny, they say, oh, you can't say anything. First of all, you can. Are you being arrested for the things that you say? No. You want to look at actual authoritarian countries like Russia right now, you speak out against, against the war, people are being arrested for things like that. All these different things. there is a level of censorship that is necessary. I wish that we could have absolute free speech, but that wouldn't really benefit anybody because absolute free speech would be a world in which people can say anything. They can promote misinformation. They can say anything about groups of people and make them, they can demonize them. They can do all sorts of different stuff, and they do it in the name of free speech. They'll say things like, well, I have the right to say what I think of this minority group, or I have the right. No, I mean, yeah, you have the right to say it, but doesn't mean you have to be given a platform for it. Another example, by the way, of a negative freedom in this regard is the speed limits. Who likes going the speed limit? Nobody. I don't. Well, I'll tell you what, because there are things put in place, and I know if I go over the speed limit and I'm caught, my insurance will go up probably a fuck ton. I make sure that I go the damn speed limit because I'm not risking that shit anymore. That is a negative freedom. Absolute freedom would be for me to just drive as fast as I want whenever I want. But guess what that negative freedom actually does for me and everyone else on the road? It encourages us to drive safely for everybody on the road, making you safer and everybody else safer as well. Those are just some examples of negative freedoms. So this person responds, question, do you think Reddit has a moral, not legal, right to censor just conservative opinions? If they just came out and said Reddit is not for leftists only, do you think that is worth repudiation? Got one. Sorry guys, I don't know why I'm fucking up with words lately, but I retract my other reply. If they were transparent, then that would be another issue that might be moral. I'm more concerned with the utilitarian view in the scenario, which option yields speech infrastructure that doesn't discriminate. Yes. Censoring, if you will, speech that discriminates is a good thing. Especially because, and you have to understand, companies like Reddit and Twitter and these platforms, they don't do it out of the kindness of their heart. They do it because they want to run a platform. And you can't run a platform if you're allowing people to just discriminate against people. Trans people, black people, any minority group of people, they help keep these things in business. So they want their business. Hypothetically, if they were transparent, perhaps competitors would have an edge advertising as a neutral platform. Oh my god. Fucking, this guy's probably a dick rider for Elon Musk too. The problem is platform competition is more complicated than other forms of market competition, since the value of platform isn't focused on the features it has, but instead the people on it. Okay? Sure, I don't think there's a moral issue with Reddit or anything else censoring conservative opinions. I wouldn't be opposed to Twitter doing the same to leftists. I think if you want a true open platform, then either the government needs to buy or make a public online forum. Bro, oh my god, these people are both delusional. What the okay, we're not even. So, I decided to take a look at this person's account and see, this is just the same thing here, what kind of things do they want to say that they're being censored for? Okay. So, where was the one? Okay. Where was the one? No. Oh, okay, this is just it. Sorry. Okay. This advanced biology cope is getting tired. There's no advanced biology that states gender is whatever you want it to be. Biology is not even directly relevant as far as gender society goes. You know it's BS. We all do. So when you stop lying to your... When are you going to stop lying to yourself or others? Wait, where's the... Wait, there's biology... They had this one where they said, as a biology student... Let me just... Wait, am I in their posts or their? Oh, new. Oh, sorry, I went overview. That's where I was before. Okay. Ah, here it is. As a biology student, let's go. Oh, look, we need to stop this gender obsession. Oh my god. And look, it's right here. The right, take your Christian morality and shove it and leave people alone. The left, enough with making up newfangled gender category pronouns. I get it. I get that it is human nature wanting to categorize. Some sort of labeling is necessary to satisfy our need for belongingness. It is also a convenient method to stigmatize and marginalize groups. It gives us a sense of power. We've all been saying that gender is a social construct. We made it up. It's not a universal truth. Consider study of taxonomy in biology. It's a human-made system just to help us understand nature better, but nature doesn't care. So many organisms don't fall into clear categories. Likewise, human sexuality cannot be neatly categorized. We just are. It is. It just is. I kind of agree. Look, so in regards to like neo pronouns and stuff like that, I think that stuff's really dumb and cringe for the most part, but it's also not actually a problem. Like most people that are doing neo pronouns and stuff like that, quite honestly, are just going through a phase and are figuring themselves out. But if they're going to identify with a gender or no gender at all, that's fine. You know, they're going to be non-binary or something. But you know, this notion that people are identifying as like cat gender or tree gender, like those aren't really, they're they're on the fringes. They're on the fringes, even on the left. They're on the fringes of like Twitter, Tumblr type stuff. Leave people alone. It's the other way around. It's not the right that's trying to invade female spaces or teach irrationalities of gender tier. Really? It's not the right. I'm sorry. Was it the left that just that's literally not? I mean, yeah, that's attacking trans people right now with their laws, and the Florida governor here that is making it so people can basically kidnap trans kids and take them away from their parents and stuff like that. Is that something the left's doing? I must have missed that. As a biology student, I'd really be interested in hearing why you believe that the existence of transgender people is irrational. Try a better straw man. As a medical student, I'm not interested in how you fell for propaganda because I already know how, by focusing on your feelings and self-perceived virtue instead of logic. Okay, so again, remember that whole thing about censorship and conservative thought isn't welcome here and blah, 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 blah. And yet, this had 3 upvotes, that had 1. I just gave it another upvote, and I gave this a downvote. Time and time again on these unpopular opinion subreddits, you will have more conservative opinions because most people are relatively open-minded, good-natured, and are willing to change and learn new things, which is the antithesis of conservatism. Do you know what a strawman is? I never said people existing is irrational. They obviously exist. Just as people with schizophrenia exist, that doesn't mean schizos have people in their walls. Oh my god. So I take it if you're afraid of telling me what a woman is because you know how I'm instantly going to prove it wrong. That's okay. Everyone here can see your fear pretty clearly. Yeah, I mean, they're just transphobic. Imagine being this disingenuous. What is this? What? This is... Versus use it to mean a matter of personal identity, not as a label. You are whatever you feel like you are. No, but that's right. You are who you choose to be. To quote Green Goblin in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, the first one, you know, we are who we choose to be, or however, you know, how he says it. I think that's his quote, right? Right? Hang on a minute. Right, that's him, right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he says it when he's holding MJ and the little tram of people. What is that thing called? The like cable car. Yeah, anyway. Choose, hero. Yeah. Um Yeah, no, that's non-answer. What does female mean? Be specific. Okay. Well, as far as male and female, that is different, and of course, intersexuality is a thing too. I'm not super versed on that though. But of course, when we're talking about it, the point is, right, with these people that clamor on about censorship and all this stuff, it's always people that just want to say hateful shit. I mean, even the way they responded to me, right? Even the categorize ideas you don't like as harmful, illegitimate, or evil. Not ideas we don't like, ideas that are actually proven to be harmful, illegitimate, or evil. Why do you think there's such an attack on trans people right now? It's funny because a lot of these people will act like, oh, trans people are so accepted and it's so trendy to be trans and stuff. Really? They're completely under attack right now. I fear for my siblings who are trans. I legitimately do. They live in a red state. They don't live here. They might want to move here, but I really do fear for them. And we have people actually attacking. What was the state that just banned transgenderism altogether? I mean, they didn't ban it altogether, but you'll see what I mean in a minute here. What was the? I want to say it was Tennessee. Yeah. Tennessee bans gender affirming care. Yeah. So essentially, what it came down to is here. I mean, no, I'm not going to go through the article. I just want to summarize. So yeah, basically they made it so that you have to go through very extensive therapy and stuff to even qualify for gender affirming care, no matter the age. And because it's not about protecting the kids. We've talked about this before too. It is not about think of the children. It's not about that. It never was about that. It's about attacking people they don't like. There are really cringe people on the left, 100%. But those really cringe people pale in comparison to the authoritarian far right people that legitimately want to just make certain groups of people not exist anymore. When people say, "Oh, you're being overly dramatic," it's not a genocide. No, it's not a genocide as in concentration camps and shit, but it is a genocide of sorts. They are trying to remove trans people from public life, from existence. And Tennessee now, if you have depression, for example, and you have to be in perfect mental health to be considered for gender affirming care. You know what people who struggle with gender dysphoria might have? Depression. Think about it. If you're not in the body that you feel you should be in, which is a slightly outdated way of explaining it, but roll with me here. If you're not able to present as you imagine yourself to be, okay, talked about this before too, but how cis people can understand this. I am in a self-improvement process, radically, redefining and reinventing myself in many different ways. I felt like shit before I started this process, and the more that I've been on this process, the better I felt. How would it be if I couldn't do that? I would still feel like shit. How does a trans person feel when they can't even start going through that process? They're still going to feel like shit. The idea is to push a lot of them, as many of them as they can, back into the closet, or just encourage them to delete themselves. And when people talk about this stuff, and they talk about, oh, censorship, blah, 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 it leads to stuff like this. This is why we have that censorship and this amount of negative freedoms and stuff like that. And they know that. They do. Because again, you look at what is it that they are actually advocating for? What do they believe? What do they say? Oh, when they say, oh, I'm being censored like this, what they mean is you won't let me be hateful to the groups I want to be hateful to. Yeah, no, sorry, I won't. You do not have a right to be a hateful bigot. You don't. Think about it on a smaller level. If you were in a group of friends and you constantly picked on this one person and everybody else is like, the fuck are you doing? Like they notice and they're like, what are you doing? Why are you picking on them? They're like, what I can't say what I want to about them. I can't, maybe they're overweight, maybe they're, a minority of some sort, whatever, right? And they're constantly picking on them, and they're like, what I'm just a joke. I'm just what I can't say anything, and then they're like, no, and if you keep acting like that, we don't want you in our friend group anymore. Oh, you're censoring me. Yeah. If you are going to participate in a group of people, whether that be a friend group, a company you work for, a political or any other kind of movement, or society as a whole, yeah, you do have to kind of censor yourself a little bit or be censored in a certain way. There are certain things that can't fly. This is why we. This is why things like swastikas being like presented publicly and stuff are a bad thing. That is a form of censorship. This is why many people are against things like the Confederate flag being proudly waved for Southern pride. Literally a flag of traitors. But Southern pride. This is why that stuff is not generally accepted as okay. It's not about intolerance. It's not about tolerance of intolerance. That's what a lot of them want. They want, oh, you're so much for the tolerant left. Yeah. In fact, hey, maybe we'll have another meme I should pin here along with these others. Does it originally come from Captain America? That's awesome. Yeah, Captain America has punched out the Red Skull and Nazis in general. Hitler, his first image, the cover of the first comic he was in was him punching out Hitler, unironically. Yeah, there's literally punching a Nazi. True, Captain America punches Hitler. In service today, he must be part of Antifa. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. Is like, yeah. Anyway, we're not getting into that. Yeah, these people that whine and cry about censorship really are just, they just want to shout racial slurs. I mean, I can't show it for obvious reasons, but literally, like right after Elon Musk bought Twitter and did his whole "I'm gonna bring free speech back," a ton of people were literally just posting the N word. Why? Because they could. Now, a lot of these were probably like edgy people who thought it was funny, but it's yeah, it's sick. Anyway, I hope you can understand that while censorship can be annoying, very much so, nobody believes in absolute free speech. Everybody makes caveats for and exceptions for what they don't want free speech for, and ultimately, we as a society and as a people need to come to an agreement on what that is. Just like in a group of friends or any other group of people, you wouldn't want somebody being hateful toward one or a group of people in that larger group. You don't want them being hateful in a society either. And that ultimately is a form of censorship. So I would say censorship ultimately is a necessary evil. So take that as you will. But as always, these are my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. And if not, I hope you find something you do like. Later, guys. Peace and love.